Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Okay, folks, a continuation, if you will, of educating the owners and also those who are going to be representing the owners, who are normally called, they're normally elected officials, but I call them employees. The owners, as you know, are the beneficiaries. They are the employers, and the elected officials are the employees. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure I bring that across. We did that on the first part of the show with John Sweeney, and we talked about that at length, and we agree on that part of it. Now we got a new person here who's going to kind of talk to the whole new city form of government, take over where we sort of miss certain different areas, which are different deals. But the fact of the matter is, we're educating the voting public right now because they got to vote on these folks. And we want to make sure they understand that they're clearly that they're employers. And those folks who are running for office, we got a record number of people who are running for office under this new form of government. But regardless of how foreign it is, they are employees. The employers who are the voting public, taxpayers, are paying for all this stuff. And we're paying quite a lump sum for each one of those commissioners or city council people at a tune of about, with perks, about $150,000 a shot. And we got 4 districts. Normally you'd have 4 commissioners and a mayor, but now we got 12 commissioners, city council folks, and a mayor. And but my point is they weren't making no $150,000, just the city council folks. No.
Making about 100, 120.
But I'm saying, but they're not making 100. They're about 100. They're making more than.
Oh yeah.
They're making more than, and you got 3 people, not 1 person, if you will. That's why I was kind of.
Well, you added 2/3 to your total bill.
2/3.
You 200% more. You figure it out this way.
Well, we get in that discussion.
Yeah.
Now you see what I'm talking about. See now I got to ask him a question too at the same time. I take it you don't pay the bill.
No.
What
I don't live in Multnomah County.
Oh, okay, but in your county you pay the bill.
Yes.
And I take what form of government do you have?
We have a county commissioners.
County commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
And I take it you have districts.
We have county commissioners, and
they have districts.
Yes.
You got 4 districts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, do you have 3 county commissioners per district?
No.
What?
No.
So you just have 1.
Well, we're I don't want to say we're smarter than that, but we understand that the way things are done. When you get all 4 of those people in there, because they should be, if you're electing 4 people or 5 people with a chair, they should know what's going on within the county.
So in Clackamas, just like Multnomah County,
Mm-hmm.
you got 4 county commissioners,
Right.
and a chair.
And I'm trying to figure out why do you need 12 city commissioners?
Oh, well, that's what we asked you to come on to talk about that other side of the deal. Because you guys, now, because the thing is that I wonder what the plan is. Now, the plan is to basically make the entire government of the state of Oregon under that new form of government. Now, what do you think Clackamas feel? And it abuts Portland.
Right.
It abuts Portland. Multnomah County, we still have we have a county commissioner, but in this particular case, you still have a city. You still have a city mayor.
In certain parts of Clackamas, there's a mayor.
Well, just like well, we don't have that anymore. We used to have the same thing.
Yeah.
Concept-wise.
In certain parts of Clackamas, we don't have a mayor.
Okay. Right.
Right.
But let's talk about this new form of government. Well, what's the word? What's the word on the street with the county? Like you, do you like this? You want to go on and go with this new form of government?
Well, people are asking the question, who started this? How did it get started? I don't remember making this decision. And I'm like, that's because you're not paying attention to what's going on in your city. you're all of a sudden they've increased. Somebody's got to pay, for what is it? 8 more people, plus a raise, plus a city manager, plus that assistant city manager, because people are not reading this whole thing. And so all of a sudden you got 10 to 11 more people in there. Then who's going to pay for the staff? You had 4 people with staff. Now you got another 8 more with staff. Somebody's got to pay these people. They're not giving up their time, I don't think. I haven't seen anywhere where it's a volunteer staff. But I'm just, I'm being the devil's advocate here, and I'm going,
well, there's no
man, what kind of mess is this going to be?
Right. Well, there's no devil's advocate for the city of Portland. Folks in the city of Portland aspect of it, the taxpayers are going to have to pay for it, and they're overtaxed to begin with. You got senior citizens that are possibly losing their home because of the other so-called development. In fact, I noticed just the other day, excuse the French, our glorious mayor, who's finally gotten to the point where he's graduating from boot camp. He's saying something, all right. He said, we need a new baseball field. Yeah. Give me a break.
Well,
who's going to pay for that?
Well,
who's going to pay for it?
It wouldn't be all on the city, on the citizens.
I said, who's going to pay it then?
It all depends on how they develop this.
Oh, really?
Because
who made the announcement?
The mayor did.
Who's making the decision?
Well, it's
the city of Portland.
Yes, where it was 5 people is now going to be about 15.
No. They're going to vote on it now.
Huh?
They're voting on it
prior to?
Yes, sir.
Well, where are they going to place it?
What's that?
Are they going to use the
water? They said they will share it once they pass it in city council.
Well,
the present city council, not the new one.
Yeah, but the new city council can revoke that.
Oh, you sure?
Oh yeah, they can revoke that. I mean, it's not going to be in blood. And not only that, they wanted to take the golf course over out by Beaverton Redtail. They thought about that. The people bucked on that lives out there.
But they had the decision making.
And so they kind of got away from that. They wanted to take Lloyd Center, and people are kind of up on that one. We're talking about the traffic and everything else, trying to get a baseball field there. Now they're talking about down on the waterfront.
But now you got to understand, you're talking to developers too, see, in the city of Portland. That's a different ballgame. It's the who owns the property.
Well, no, it's going to be a little more difficult than people think.
Well, I know they're going to be some eminent domain.
They're not going to be able to eminent domain
as much
in order to put that there, simply because the people's going to they're going to have an opportunity to help make this decision.
But it's not going to be owned by the city.
No.
Okay, no. It's a private development, and the city is representing that stuff, those unknowns. They're sitting at the table, and the developers are asking for those unknowns, for the city to make that decision to clean all that stuff up.
No, to give them the opportunity. No, the city.
Well, the eminent domain. Who has to vote on eminent domain?
Well, the city has to vote on eminent domain.
That's what I'm talking about.
But that's not the places that they're looking at is not about eminent domain. It's about comfortability and profitability, and along with citizen approval. Those 3 things is a part of this. I know, because I happened to be at one of the after one of the meetings, I should say, that took place.
You said it right the first time.
No, I'm not going there. They're still trying to make a decision on a baseball play. Where can they put a baseball diamond? Simply because they see an influx of revenue coming in.
Well, now wait a minute. We gotta make sure. Like I'm a taxpayer. I'm really looking at it. What they said on the news yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Was that the developers are not going to make any announcements until after it's voted on.
Right. First, they got to figure out a place Where are they going to put it?
No, I'm saying the developers have the idea of the place.
They don't make that decision.
They don't. Well, I understand.
The developers don't make that decision.
No. I said the developers has a plan.
Well, they've had 4 plans. I was in on one of them.
But still, were you in on this one? Are you in on this one?
The last one where they wanted to go down on the waterfront. No, I'm not in on that one.
You're not in on that one.
No.
So you don't know whether or not they're gonna come back with the same one.
Nobody know.
No, other than the developers.
Developers don't really know. They're sending out fillers. Everybody's sending out fillers as to where try to get a place.
You better check out with Channel 2 and Channel 8 because they said that they will not share that information until after the city make a decision. So I'm sitting there saying,
what decision does the city have to make?
Well, the city as to whether or not they want to have this baseball field.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure that if you're sitting on the city council, the present day city council, not the one after the fact that we're talking about, the 12, and the bottom line is that they have to, I mean, if anybody's sitting on that council, well, definitely say, well, let me see the numbers here, and where's it going to go?
You got 3 people sitting on that council that's running for office again.
Well, man, but they said
and they realized one thing in particular: if a vote takes place before the new election, it can affect them based on how they vote.
Well, they asked them a question, and check this out. They got a majority vote yesterday.
Okay.
Media came out and says 3 commissioners, and they named the ones who were running for mayor, all voted for the baseball field.
Okay. But they didn't vote for a place.
Well, we don't know that.
They can't. They don't have the land. They don't have where they do not have one of the 4 places that people are looking at. Okay. And I'm privy to that information. There's 4 places that they were looking at, and one of them is definitely out, and that's Red Tail Golf Course. Right now, it's definitely out, even though the city of Portland owned it. Okay. They were looking at Lloyd Center, and for some reason, a lot of people are leaving Lloyd Center now, so there's no telling what's going to happen there. And they're looking at the property down on the waterfront.
Yeah, well, they shared that, and that didn't go through. It didn't. I remember when they were doing that piece.
Yeah, well, it came back. It's come back with some caveats.
Right.
And so
that might still be on the table.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we get this straight because Bob he's got 2 hats there. He's got Clackamas and he's got Multnomah County, and he's acting.
Well, if they want some, if they were smart, they would try to find some place close to both counties or all 3 counties that's easy access through freeway. Kind of like San Francisco did, where now you draw in from everybody, and people from Clackamas don't have to drive 15 miles in heavy traffic to get there. People from Beaverton don't.
So you
just don't have to be.
So you feel that the taxpayers in Clackamas County are
not just Clackamas County,
feeling very comfortable with picking up part of that bill.
Ain't no bill.
What?
Unless they use part of Clackamas County, I would say then the commissioners there would have to come and make a decision. Okay. But right now, this is a Portland deal.
Portland deal?
Yeah.
But you there?
Huh?
You're there for
No, I'm sit. I sit on the on certain board. What do we call it? Certain boards that get the information, especially when they were messing with golf courses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll leave that at that.
That's it.
We'll leave that at that. But like I said, there will be a vote before.
Oh yes.
The new commissioners come on.
Okay, we'll see.
Okay. Well, like I said, they said something on the tube to that effect, and the mayor wants to take credit. He wants to make sure that before he leaves, he wants a vote on that situation, and he wanted approved, and he got his votes. You got 3 commissioners, the ones who are running for mayor. I think 3 commissioners who are running for mayor, and the only one that's not was Dan. Dan's not running, so his name wasn't mentioned.
Right.
But the other three all supported the baseball deal.
Okay.
You got me. Okay, good. Now, let's get into the other part of the deal, Bob. We've got a national election going on right now, and we've kind of like we beat this whole piece on the city for a minute. Well, you want to make a few comments on that?
Well, there's one thing on the city. It's more than just a baseball field that you need to be worried about. You need to be worried about paying a toll to get across the bridge. Because they're looking at putting a toll on going from Morgan to Washington. Okay. So keep an eye out for that. With this new bridge that they're looking at in the intimate domain of so much property on both sides of the river. Okay. It's going to be pretty interesting as well.
Well, since you're right, and since you made it that way, that's a federal piece. Yeah. Okay, so when you're dealing with that federal piece, you're thinking about the congressional delegation and the senatorial delegation. That's a huge entity. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it'd be good to get an idea of what do you think about that piece? Well, the total aspect of it. I know that they're concerned. Hey, Jim, have a seat.
No, I was supposed to break in.
That's okay. No, just have a seat there right quick, and we'll get you on this next round. But you represent the St. John piece. Yeah,
just have. Is this all right here?
Yeah, just sit. Yeah, you sit right there. You could. Yeah.
Live TV, ladies and gentlemen.
Community television. We just draw the heir apparent of St. John.
But no, it's a federal state. It's a federal and state piece. Washington, Oregon, and the federal government. And when I was sitting on the TriMet board when all this came about, and they were having meetings over and people were against it. And now those people that were against it are kind of for it because they realize that I-5 is too closed in, with the growth in the area, both north and south. Mm-hmm. So now they're trying to figure this out. But some people came up with the idea that in order to pay it, because it was in the millions. Just think about this when I was on the TriMet board. Now it's in the billions.
Right, exactly.
And so waiting costs money. And so this is going to be very interesting to see what they come up with.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was thinking about, like you said, you were sitting on the TriMet board, and I guess light rail's included in the new one anyway. Well, whatever they're going to do, they're saying they will.
Yeah.
Is that still there?
From what I understand, they're trying to maintain it, but Washington now is even before Washington didn't want light rail on it. Now they seem to want it, but everything is it's like throwing forks and knives in the air, and when they come down, you name your child.
And who's paying for that tab?
States and the federal government.
Taxpayers.
Well, taxpayers pay it all.
Oh, okay. I just want to
unless the government decide to make some more money, right? And they can make, and since they make their own money, they can do that.
Right. Okay. We got that. Again, we're talking to the folks who are running for office. Okay, we want to make sure you know about what that's all about. And we're also talking to the taxpayers.
Yes.
Because you're paying for it. That's the whole idea. So we're educating you on that point. That is an issue.
Oh,
okay?
yes.
That is an issue. Let's keep going. Now, what about the presidential election? Let's talk a little bit about that, Bob. I know you're very much involved.
Well, with the presidential election, I'm beginning to laugh at what's going on. Oh. And I laugh at it in order not to cry.
Okay.
Because, people are using any and every excuse for their candidate, whether it's Democratic or Republican. And I say that because we were raised thinking that in this country we have laws, and we follow the law. And there are certain things that if you don't follow the law, happens to you. And as one guy said to me, I'm sitting in a group of 5, and one says to me, man, when did we start allowing convicts to determine what's going to happen to the country? And I said, well, I don't know if you're a convict if you haven't gone to jail yet. You might be convicted, but then again, they can change that. Mm-hmm. So that's one. And then another one says to me, well, you know, you black people, y'all voting for Harris simply because she's black. And again, the temperature rises a little bit. And I said, well, so you're telling me that since you're a Trump supporter, you're not voting for him because he's white? How is it that I can't say that about you, but you can say that about me? And then I began to explain to him, the idea in this country is to divide and win. Not divide and conquer, divide and win. And if you can divide people based on anything you say, you have a better chance of winning. And he says, well, you guys call him a convict. I say, well, I didn't know you guys. I say, some people call him a convict. I don't. I call him convicted. I say, now it's one thing to be convicted, it's one thing to be sentenced, and it's one thing to have served and gotten out. I said, so let's get it straight. Some of us are smarter than the others. I said, so, and then the other guy goes, well, you guys are talking that stuff. What about the fact that he gave us money? Everything was better when he was in office. And I said, what was better? I said, when he came into office, I think there was a guy named Obama. President Obama had brought us out of the trenches that we were in and put us back up on land. And he got a system that was moving forward. I said, so, you know, it took him 8 years to do it, but he had us in the positive. I said, it only took him 1 year to put us back in the negative. I said, but you have to understand something. The reason interest rates and everything else didn't go up wasn't because of anything he did. It was because we had a phantom in the land. Well, COVID took over. People wasn't working. People wasn't, nobody was buying anything because they didn't have any money because they weren't working. So everything was kind of stagnant and going downhill. And what did the federal government do? They borrowed money in order to send money out to the people so that they could be somewhat afloat. I said, so that's what happened. Well, he decided, no, he didn't. Congress did it. And by the way, Congress was a Democratic Congress that voted to send out those checks to people. Why did his name show up on them or his picture on things? Simply because he was the president. You know, that's what happened. And most people don't follow politics like we do. That's why they don't know these things or have, all they see is the fringes. I got it. How do I keep it? I asked one of my friends, a very good friend, I said, so why are you voting for Trump? He said, because I think I'll make more money. Well, if that's the only thing you're thinking about, then that's what, you know, that's who you vote for. But I guarantee you one thing, I have met a rich person that wanted to make you make more money. I've seen them that may want to make themselves make more money, want to pass things that they are okay. And so we have a quagmire here of people that don't really understand politics and people that think they know what's going on in politics. And then there's those that play in the game and they understand that you have to put your glove on the ground in order to catch a ground ball. And so I just look at it and I go, man, this is a real mess that we have here now. We got hate. I mean, people are hating each other. Drive down the freeway, and people are cursing each other out. They seem to be in a hurry to go nowhere. I mean, what happened to us over the last 12 years? We went from up here where we had respect to down here where we playing in the dirt, in the mud. And it's not just some people, it's most of us. And what do we do? How do we get out of this again? You know, and so that's where it's going on in politics. I mean, turn on any station, anytime, and who's telling you, here's what we're going to do to try and help the American people get better, versus who's telling you she's not this or he's not that, or they are not this, they are trying to do this, all the negative things that make your blood pressure go up. You know, everybody in America should ask the person that they want to vote for, what's in it for me?
Well, let me ask a couple questions.
Sure.
Get a little equal time on the other side.
Okay.
With Kamala.
Okay.
Harris. One, she didn't go through the normal system being selected by the Democratic Party like they normally. You know, when you go through the debates.
What says we have to?
No. I'm just
asking the question.
Okay, but I'm gonna get it. And the question I would ask is that did they do that because of the fact that this would be the first woman?
No.
And then secondly, the other one was the fact that had they not done that and she'd go through the system, she would not have been appointed.
No.
She would have been appointed, you think?
No, I'm saying that they did it because it was a situation where they realized the candidate that was running had lost some of his cognitive, well, I shouldn't call it that. I should say ability to talk to the people and make them feel comfortable. And it was late in the game.
The abortion issue, I'm sure
that had nothing to do with it. It had nothing to do with it. It was the candidate they didn't feel was I don't want to say fit.
But that was a major issue, was it? The abortion issue.
The Republicans made it a major issue, but it wasn't a major issue for Democrats.
Well, that's the only thing they had running.
What?
I mean,
what, Bruce? It's just like you saying I'm gonna grow flowers in my yard, and your neighbor go, you haven't had flowers before. You didn't do that before. So why you go have flowers in your yard and I don't have flowers in mine? Same thing. I ran against people in my election. One said, and you appointed someone in yours. It's mine. I can do what I want. It's nothing written that says people have to.
So the Democrats basically, like I said,
they chose somebody to run, and based on position.
But they wouldn't have selected a male, right? Is that what you're saying?
If the male had been vice president, they would have selected a male.
Wait a minute. What about this abortion issue thing? You think a male?
What's about it? It's been a problem ever since the.
Do you think a male could represent women?
Sure.
Really? I thought women, that's a whole different ballgame, right?
Why?
Well, and that's what it says.
The only people that's saying that is Republicans. Democrats are not saying that the man can't say a woman should have a right to choose. I don't hear that. That's about as dumb as a box of rocks for them to come out and say that a man can't say that a woman has a right to choose. Of course a woman has a right to choose.
So you're saying that women would have accepted the fact that a male could represent?
Sure.
Okay.
If the women are accepting Trump, and he's told them, and they came out and said that if you're not married, and don't have children, you're a cat woman. What kind of crap is that? But they accept him, so it's okay for them to accept him based on that, but it's not okay for them to accept a man based on the fact that he says, ladies, you have a right to choose.
But his position on the whole issue of abortion was that it was going to be a state right deal.
Well,
it was sent back to the states.
But so now we go have 50 states with 50 different laws.
Yeah.
Okay. And now
that was the position. That's what he threw back. That's
right. And so
he didn't get into the women's side of it.
No.
He just
50 said, this is a women's issue. I can't have a baby.
Right.
Okay, so this don't affect me one bit, except for if the lady says I want to have an abortion, and I'm on the other side with her, and I say no, let's not do that, and we have a debate on that. Okay, that's the only part of that where it's my issue. But what the Republicans have done is taken what goes on in your bedroom and made it a state issue. That's what they've done.
Only because the women said that they've asked Trump what his position on the whole issue with this abortion issue. He said, well, hey, I can't make that decision. Let the states do it. Let's send it back to the Supreme Court.
It was already taken care of years ago.
No. Wait.
See, people don't know how we got into this abortion thing.
Yeah, but the Supreme Court rule, the Supreme Court basically came in and endorsed this concept about the state. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Is that okay?
And they played politics.
No, but still.
They played politics with something that shouldn't be political.
That's not political.
It shouldn't be. Why? See, I was around when they first started this abortion issue. And I remember it in the 50s, what happened. Okay? I remember that young black women was going to Miss Ann in the back alley, and Miss Ann to have an abortion, and Miss Ann took a wire hanger and would run it up there and shake it around and knock the fetus out. Okay, and bingo, the young lady would go home and bleed to death. I remember those days. I remember them very well. And then what happened to change all that was back then when before, every now and then someone would end up bleeding to death, and it was no big thing because it was black girls. But when white young girls started going to Miss Ann and they went home and bled to death, it became national news, and bingo, we got an abortions right because they feel the doctor need to be the one that takes care of that. And then in the late 60s, 70s, we began this abortion rights. And you know why? It was the political issue that the Republicans saw that, God, we're losing all these elections. Why? Well, we don't have the vote. Why don't we have the vote? Well, let's look at what's going on. Well, the churches said abortion is wrong. And the Republicans went, yeah, that's right. But they went at it with one idea in mind. That the government should not pay for you to have an abortion. I agree with them 100%. If you go out and going to have an abortion, pay for it. That's my attitude. And I'm a Democrat. Okay? But they used it, and they thought, well, if we go to the churches and let them know we agree with them, they'll come and vote with us. And they did. But people have a tendency to forget that when the Republicans tried to get away from that because it was about the money for them, and they can't, because it's like a grocery store with coupons, and you have coupons out there, and bingo, everybody's coming to the store, and then you don't have coupons for a week, and the money stopped coming in. Well, that's the same thing that happened with them, and they realized, wait a minute, we came back up. And so they stayed on the issue. So everything is political, and if you know the beginning, you'll see where you are in the middle and the end.
Okay.
And so that's the abortion issue. Okay. It's not it. I kind of laugh at people that talk about it because they don't really know what they're talking about. Why in the world should me as a man tell a woman what she could do with her body? I shouldn't have that. I don't feel I should have that authority. I don't know where I can. But that's my opinion.
But now Trump's position was that he felt just like what you said. He didn't have an issue.
No, but see, Trump played the game on them, and the game was, I don't have to do it. I'll let my boys do it.
Wait a minute. You bringing a male back in. You said boys.
Yeah,
that's a male.
That's right.
So
I don't have to do it. I'll let my boys do it.
Who did that?
Look at any state government and tell me who run it. Any.
Women.
Where? I asked the question, where? Name one state where the woman has the voting control. It's not one. It's all men, male.
Right.
Okay.
Well, isn't that what they're doing by trying to break the barrier situation, getting a woman elected?
No. That has nothing to do with, we want the best person. I don't care if it's male, female, black, white, green, yellow, or blue.
And that's the way they're talking about it now, you said?
Huh? I have no idea who's they?
The voting public.
The voting public is being led by the conversation by the candidates. Plain and simple. One's for abortion, one they feel is not. One's going to make me more money, one's not. One's going to raise taxes, one's not. And I want to ask the question, go back and look at taxes in America, and you'll see that inflation is a norm. It goes up. Wages, they go up. Prices, they go up. That's the norm. But someone tells you, oh, it's too high. They rate the prices raised under this president. Well, go back and look and see what happened to cause prices to rise. And I have yet to see one president, one congressman go to a grocery store and say, raise your prices. But who are we blaming for the increase in prices? Is it the grocery store, or is it Congress or the president? You see, we're totally mixed up. This is a capitalist society, and in capitalism, what's the one thing you're trying to do? Make more money. We have lost our way. We've forgotten what's going on, and there needs to be a change. Okay. People need to be educated.
Okay. Well, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to leave it at that. Okay. I'm not going to ask you who are you voting for.
I haven't made up my mind yet.
What?
I'm one of those undecided.
Oh, you're not going to give it to the boys?
Huh? Why?
No, I'm just asking.
I'm undecided. I'm joking. I'm joking.
All right. Well, like I said, we aren't going to put it there. What we're going to do, we're going to say, hold on that end of it, because the last day is on the 2nd.
Well,
we'll talk about endorsement.
I voted already.
Yeah, okay. Right. Yeah. But like I said, we're not going to get at that point on the 2nd, which is next week. Well, this coming Saturday.
Yeah.
That will be the
the big day.
We're going to be the big day, and then we'll kind of get a sense of what happens after, right? Mm-hmm. The fifth is the big day.
Well, the 5th is the last day, but it's the last day to vote. But my God, we don't know what the big day is.
But it's going to be in the can. But it's going to be in the can. I'm just saying, it's going to be in the can on the 5th. That's what I'm saying. And then they're going to take some time, probably about 10 days or so afterwards.
Maybe.
So why don't we do that? But we want to thank you about your comments. I want to make sure you got your comments in there.
Oh yeah.
And we got those key. And then we're gonna bring Jim Spears on now at this point in time. And then Jim's going to come on, and we're going to talk about North Portland. Okay, got me.
Gotcha.
So why don't we just change seat with Jim?
Okay, Jim, come on over and take my seat.
Yeah, there you go. Good job.
All right.
I didn't say the word. I am saying the word.
I can leave my coat hanging here.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, come on over, Jim.
It's just nothing but a windbreaker anyway. How you doing?
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, now.
How you doing, young man?
Oh, just fine. Again, folks, we just kind of bring you another guest here for the last part of this hour, and naturally, got Jim over here, Jim Spears. He's a walking historian. When you start thinking about North Portland, I'm giving him respect.
A little bit.
And I'm giving him some respect aspect of it.
Be careful.
Because when you start thinking about District Number 2, and when you start thinking about the city of Portland, there's more influence coming from the District 2 within the city of Portland under this new concept, because that's really where all the action is. And that's I'm just throwing that out to a certain degree. And Jim has been there covering that area for quite some time. I mean, he knows that area, and I thought it would be a neat deal to be able to have him on and share some thoughts about that. And
thank you.
And the fact that we have one of the mayors, the former mayor, running for office also as a county, but again from North Portland.
Yeah.
From St. John area, and as far as I'm concerned, to me it has boundaries. The area has boundaries, and it has quite an impact, and it has quite a say on the city of Portland. A lot of times, a lot of things have been lacking, and I think, but now things are going to change a bit, I think. So, Jim, welcome aboard.
So.
Let's talk about that, and if you haven't known, if you don't know who Jim is all about, I would like for him just to share briefly what are some of his writings and this, that, and the other, and then his past and how long he's been living in the district aspect of it, and then just get down to talking about the issues of the district. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well, again, I'm the fourth generation North Portland personality, although I lived in San Diego for over a decade, but I've always been here in North Portland, and have written about North Portland in a now defunct newspaper, the St. John's Review, which has fallen on hard times because of new ownership, but that's neither here nor there. And so I have a following. I've done some books on the area and looked into certain activities and idiosyncrasies that are, I believe, unique to North Portland. And I think it is that history that has molded the personality of North Portland. And the further we get away from it, when you have new personalities, new generations, new people coming in the area, they don't connect with that, and that's not their fault. It's just because they don't understand that. And so I think it's interesting to look at North Portland through the lens of St. John's and the original city of St. John's, to a lesser degree the original city of Albina, and to recognize how they came to be Portland and the animosity and problems that caused at the time over a century ago, but are still part of the personality of what we call North Portland.
Right.
But where we're sitting right now at over a century ago was Albina, and that area of a lot of people look at St. John's today and they go, St. John's is that railroad cut area in there, which isn't accurate, but nonetheless that's where people think was a defining border of St. John's. Well, it's not, but that's all kind of incidental to the fact that the characteristics, the personality of North Portland grew in a different fashion than the rest of Portland, and it has to do with the annexation, the multiple attempts at annexation by the city of Portland to take and you're asking St. John's, and to us not as well known, but Albina, and so what took place is some entertaining but disheartening type of behaviors and actions that some people know about, others don't. But what they don't know oftentimes is that the personality of North Portland is a result of that history, which is fascinating, and sets us apart. So it's a if you will, a tale of two cities.
Yes.
And
Yes.
because most people don't know this, and you can qualify it if you want. You can go to Oregon Historical Society and spend days, weeks, months there and find out. But prior to 1900, 1905, and what have you, the city we call Portland was what we would identify as west of the Willamette River, and there was separate cities on the other side. There was a standalone city of East Portland. There was a standalone city of Albina. There was a standalone stepchild of St. John's, which was isolated by those standards. It was a long trip. It wasn't a place you'd go automatic. There was no St. John's Bridge. There was no way to get there, and so. But the city of Portland, the Colossus of Portland, began to move on those three cities, and eventually swallowed all of them. And it was all done against the will of those cities. But the Colossus, the size of Portland proper, then West Portland, at some point in time, they just overcame the other cities, and that's what we have today. And much of the area of which is now under review and has been contentious since 1957, 1960, that were the beautiful and architecturally stunning Memorial Coliseum sits. That was the heart of Albina, and those people who were there
moved it out. Yeah,
they I guess were made an offer they couldn't refuse, and likewise St. John's, which was ultimately annexed to Portland in 1915. But there were two times previously where the city was annexed, and the founding fathers of St. John's were very, very apprehensive about the city of Portland, looking it through the lens of history, going that we're going to have to gain some things like a trolley car or some electricity, but we're going to have to give up a lot of our autonomy. There are going to be things that we're no longer able to do, like set taxes to for business regulations, licensing, and that type of thing. And so, and St. John's was a very prosperous city. The city of it was often referred to as the Manhattan of the West, and so the city of Portland is going, we want a piece of this action, and so they created conditions that forced an annexation through voting practices which were illegal, a number of things, and then once that annexation was completed, the original founding fathers of St. John's were going, well, we've lost our autonomy. We can't regulate our taxes. We can't regulate businesses. We can't regulate licensing. We don't have our own police department anymore. Our fire department, it's all gone. And so we've got this third party, the city of Portland, which is telling us how we're going to behave and what we're going to do. And so they seceded from not once but twice. But the third time, the weight of power and authority from the growing massive colossus of Portland proper was just too much to resist. And so what's happened as a result was, and it's not known as much now, you have to kind of look for, but St. John's proper, there's always been a resentment towards the bureaucracy of Portland, going, there were the steps. You're gonna put things in North Portland which wouldn't be allowed anywhere else, and you're gonna do so as kind of a vicarious or sometimes direct punishment for your resistance to our annexation that many years ago. In fact, the railroad gash, which the locals call the cut, that runs through St. John's, was actually a part of a political agreement with the railroads to eviscerate the will of St. John's, and to say, well, these uppity clowns, we'll teach them a lesson. We'll just cut the city in half, and they did, and because the actual border of it's changed a little bit, incrementally, but the actual border of the original city of St. John's would be what right today is Wall Street, right in that area. But so the city of St. John's became the community of St. John's, and they lost all their autonomy, and they became kind of the ugly stepchild of the larger community. And so they thought, things that were not permissible in other parts of the city, the city of Portland will say, we'll just put it in St. John's because they deserve it for resisting this for so many years. So we'll do things like we'll defund their library system. They don't need libraries because they're all a bunch of hillbillies anyway. They can't read or write. What do they need it for? And we'll put the city dump out there. That'll be a nice touch. And we'll cut a gash right through the city, and we'll compromise their educational system. But what happened as a result is the citizenship of St. John's. I think it's a community that is unique in the sense that it grew up its own coattails, and there's the school of Roosevelt, their relationship to the community of North Portland is different than, say, I don't even know what the name of Madison High School is anymore, but whatever, they don't have that kind of camaraderie. So it's a fascinating tale, and it's one of political intrigue and skullduggery and backstabbing and payoffs and what have you, and so it's something that we carry with us, and is at this point, this is 2024, the memory of, or the association with the annexation process is distant memory, but still the reaction to many people in North Portland, St. John's, is we're still being discriminated against. Like, for instance, why is the city closed down that beautiful old North Portland precinct? It's been there. That was the titular head of state for the whole, and it's a beautiful building, and it's a part of history, and it's there. But they said, well, you don't need it. We're going to move you. Well, so where you get police response times that were under 3 minutes are now 15 to 18 minutes away. Okay, but they're going, well, you're St. John's, so that's the cards you're dealt. And so it's a moving target.
Yeah, right.
So again, the city, it's the community is a unique outcrop of the city of St. John's, and it's a fun thing to write about. It's a fun thing to look at. Some things are better left unsaid, or at least avoided. And certainly early on in the late 1800s, Portland proper, which was then West Portland and East Portland, Albina, and St. John's, and the city of Portland didn't get its nickname Sin City for no reason. It was Sin City of the West Coast, and where if someone were to ask me, what was the primary business that motivated and promoted Albina, St. John's, Portland, what have you, I have to say, well, prostitution. That's what built the West, as much as the railroads. And would rather not hear about that. And I said, well, I got bad news for you, son. It was about every third doorstep that's what it was. And so that's what made the area.
Yeah, right.
And so then, later on, when there were actual Portland annexed forcibly, East Portland and Albina and St. John's, and then there were areas of the community that were run by gangsters, and they were in large part, the police were involved, and but it was tightly controlled. I mean, past for Albina, where we're sitting right now, was run by a man, you may have heard the name of Tom Johnson. Tom Johnson was a black man who ran this place with an iron fist. I mean, nothing took place without his knowledge and approval. Nothing. And there would be what we today would refer to as a gang problem. He would come over and knock on the door and say, I'm going to have a discussion here tonight, son, but this is over. This won't happen again. And same thing with, if you got a complaint about spousal abuse or public drunkenness, they'd send over a couple of Tom Johnson's boys and say, we'll just have a brief discussion, but make sure we don't come back here again, because it'll be very unpleasant. And it was in North Portland, and there was a guy named Big Jim Elkins who ran the area, and they all got together in the community of Kenton, Stan Terry and Big Jim and Tom Johnson, and they kind of cut up their areas of influence in the city, whether it had to do with prostitution. Back then, pinballs were illegal, gambling, illegal fights, and what have you. And so they had a tacit agreement between them, that you won't step over in my area, I won't step over in yours, but if you need some help, we'll make a phone call to the, Lieutenant so-and-so at the police department and make sure you're taken care of. And, so it was a different world, and I wasn't part of it, but it's part of it to look back on. And an interesting side note is Big Jim Elkins, who eventually left Portland when they began to try and clean up the city. Mayor Dorothy McCullough, and then we had another mayor, Terry Shrunk, which was an interesting character, to say the least. But he was all about North Portland. But anyway, Big Jim Elkins left Portland when the criminal element kind of evaporated, and was living in Arizona, and was reported that he died of a heart attack. And but when the autopsy was done, they were going, it's kind of funny, heart attack. He had a heart attack, but there were 238 calibers in his heart, and so there was something else that's quite a heart attack. So at any rate, that I talk too much. So
no. Well, in fact, I wanted to make sure we got that on note in this particular aspect of it, because and coming out of the next show, we want to talk about the election piece. Because things have changed somewhat, and there's the new the idea of this baseball. They've not talked about where that's going to be located. I had some idea there might be. We got about 10 more seconds here.
The baseball issue is just we only have a second.
Yeah, so what we're going to do?
It's a moving target.
It's a moving target. Yeah. But my point, I want you to get a little bit back, and we want to talk a little bit more about that.
Happy to do that.
Okay, good. So okay, fine. Well, Jim, thank you very, very much for this point in time. So next time I'll see you, probably be on the second. Okay.
All right.
Sounds great.
Look forward to it.
Okay. All right, folks. Thanks very much. Okay. We'll go and see you next week.
Well, I'm sorry I was a little late. I was out front there.